Back for the game of the day, play day 3, Group A. This is the last day for groups, and if there's ties, we have a tiebreaker that will happen on Friday. If we have those ties, don't worry about it. More action, more Summoner's Rift, and right now we have NORD versus LLS. We need to understand the stakes of this game, why NORD need this game, and why LLS needs this game. Explain. Who wants to take this?
I've got it. I'll hit it. Right. So it's very simple.
Go.
We killed the bad man. No, NORD is pretty. For NORD, this game doesn't mean a huge amount. Okay, generally speaking, because you're frowning you're firing your brow at me, Archer. No, I'll tell you why. Because the rats are in first place. Okay, that's that. And then we've got the three, the Simpsons monkey picture at the bottom of the table between Lightside, Verdant, and Bulldog, who are all of them are 1 and 2 currently, or are they 1 and 3 currently? No, Bulldog, yeah, you know what I mean. Potentially 1 and 3 teams.
I'm so happy with this explanation so far.
Yeah, no, this is fantastic.
To that extent, NORD would they're pretty much, barring anything wildly outside of expectations, looking at second place here, okay, because of how the other teams have performed. However, on the other side, the bottom 3 between Lightside, Verdant, and Bulldog, it's very crucial. If one of these teams can pick up a win in the next 2 games, then they will avoid the tiebreaker to play for that last spot and the seeding here. Okay, you don't want to get last place because then your seeding is very no bueno, which will affect you come the playoff stage starting next week.
So, looking to both these teams, how can they play within the Rift? When you look into the right side, you see Hybrid. We had an interview with him. He was so happy with the win. He was saying things left and right until he didn't, because I said, hey, you still have to play versus NORD today. And from the happiest expression I've seen on that face came in the blank expression of, oh, I have to play versus Santorin. So this says a lot. Obviously, there's a lot of pressure facing like Santorin, No Way, Exmati, Vizichachi, and Treats. Man, saying this Frozen out loud is something. But he has to do it. And it's also an opportunity for you to shine and bring in the idea of, I was a fan when I was watching these guys play within the Rift. Now I'm on the same level, if not better, by winning them.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the facial expressions between Hybrid and Santorin, Hybrid looks like he's going like, yippee, I get to play versus one of my heroes, and Santorin's kind of being, yeah, I don't even know who you are. And I think that's the best way to really categorize this matchup. Again, we've got NORD here, big names, big names. Lightside, if you're a fan of the NLC for sort of multiple splits, you'll recognize a couple of these guys. But fundamentally, we are looking at sort of Manchester United versus Forest Green Rovers at the moment. And whilst Manchester United, big name, maybe not doing as well as they would like to, they're probably going to beat Forest Green Rovers. And that's the way that I feel about this matchup. But saying that, we weren't necessarily expecting Lightside to be here with a win at all. We thought that Verdant were going to be able to beat them. We looked at the draft and we were like, Verdant are going to be able to beat them. We looked at the first 10 minutes, we were like, yeah, Verdant are beating them. And then the Atakan incident occurred. And Lightside showed the skill innate in their players and their ability to sort of come back and overcome these deficits and get a win. It's going to be a tougher task against NORD. I think NORD are a much more polished team than Verdant. There's a lot more experience, and I think the caliber of the players on the roster is just that little bit higher. But Lightside, they must have loads of confidence surging through their veins, apart from Hybrid, you didn't realize he had to play 2 games today, which like he was going to have to do anyway. But looking at these guys and having spoken to them in the past, these are guys that thrive on good vibes. And I'm imagining that the vibes in the Lundqvist Lightside camp are A-OK right now.
All right, I like that a lot, and I honestly, what a time to be a Lightside believer. Like even though they're only 1 and 2 so far, they have looked pretty good. And against Los Verdones in week 1, it was good for the first 10-15 minutes. They went toe to toe there. The second game against Bulldog, they should have won that game. Had a fantastic, like the most dominant early game we've seen, but giga through the game. And then on the game we saw today against Verdant, found a way to win there as well. This is a team in my estimation that is the best, like a team that isn't NORD or or Los Ratones in Group A. Like they've shown us quite a lot of good stuff. It would not be out of the realms of possibilities to bring out an upset here if you're Lightside, but it is going to be a tough task. NORD have looked very clean, they've looked solid, and so far to start this draft we've got a lot of jungle bans here. 4 jungle bans so far. Santorin and Hybrid both going to get pinched out here. Obviously the Vi's been high priority as well, the Viego for both of these junglers. We'll see what comes through.
Only 280 carries at the end, like 140 each. Champion pool is still available. Oh, we've seen this before. The priority on the Rumble, but it's coming in from NORD. So with that in mind, I think you can kind of twist it around. But the reply with this Galio that has such a high KDI, but it has been piloting. It has been piloted by Los Ratones so far, Nemesis. So who knows what happens on LNS.
Yeah, kind of cheating in terms of the KD stats when it's Nemesis that's playing it. But I really like this just in the context of this mid lane matchup. Harbo, not necessarily the strongest lane.
We don't see, like, his point was so bad we had to stop it. Yeah. There you go.
Oh,
I believe you said something, middle cuts.
Am I still here? That is the question that I'm posing.
At least 12 pixels
just
of
about.
you are, yeah.
For now.
Anyway, right. Harbo, not necessarily great in lane, but he can provide loads of value in team fights. Viego, excellent in team fights. Need someone to help him out there. Hero's entrance, perfect tool for that.
Love that. Great summary, summary, and done so succinctly that you can disconnect and it's all fine. Yeah, Viego jumps in and Galio follows up with him. I love it. And let's not forget as well, Galio, when he jumps in, creating that magic shield area, really good versus a Rumble situation, right? If Rumble lays down the red carpet, it is going to be Viego versus Vi. You know, those are the two junglers left up that both these players have enjoyed so far, and a preemptive Ez here, which is often picked when there's like the best ADCs are down, and I guess I'll play Ez, but we've still got Varus open. But I like the idea here of picking this Ez early because it will be really good in the hands of Rusty Sniper, right? Like, you want Rusty Sniper now to pick an ADC that's a little bit more vulnerable, that can get caught out by the Vi ulti, by the Rumble ulti. And this is a bit of a bait, I think, locking in this Varus, like in a situation against you know, the engage from NORD. Easy to get caught out.
Yeah. Do you need an enchanter on an answer to pair it up? Leo Licargo, but we know Leo to go more for the engage tool instead of the saving tool. So this Varus is kind of exposed towards everything that NORD is providing. And with that experience from the NORD players, they're like, okay, you want to play an immovable object? Yeah, we can go there. Don't worry. We'll find you in the rift. Braum is removed, so they don't want to protect the disengage. If you want to go for that one, you can bring another one. The Rakan is also a viable option if you have the Rebel and the Vi as a paired up, or if you have the Galio, for instance. Again, the Rakan is also interesting to pair up with the Viego, so maybe that could have a priority as Renata is removed as well.
Yeah, I do think in reference to the Varus though, whilst there is threat on him from the Vi, it's not like there's another form of engage yet drafted by NORD which is going to really make his life completely miserable. So as long as Rusty Sniper is fast on his flash, then it should be relatively okay, but the value that the Varus is going to be bringing is in that Chains of Corruption. Vi, really good when she's going forward, but if she's getting locked down by Chains of Corruption into Galio Taunt and the knock-up and the Spectral Maw coming out from the Viego, extremely burstable. And another one of those bodies that you can pick up as a Viego, which is going to offer you a lot of value. So I'm concerned for the Varus, for what's going to be locked in B4, B5 by NORD, and then the onus is going to be on Lightside to protect, enable, but also round out the rest of their comp.
All right, so how are we gonna see that? We've got a lot of support focus in the bans right here, and this is really gonna be the identity of both these teams. Is, are we going for these aggressive style supports? You know, someone like the Rel, I think you have to take if you're Lightside, because if NORD gets their hand on the Rel, Rumble Rel is a pretty famed combination, right? The Magnet Storm into the red carpet, that equalizer, it's painful. And it would be a little bit too much for someone like the Varus to hold on to. Even though he's got the hero's entrance to protect him, that just might be kind of scary. So on the other side here, the flip side, No Way potentially getting his hands on that Victor, it will be locked in. So Victor obviously is sick in the meta right now, but I think it's actually the perfect No Way champion, right? I've been a little bit, I'd say, it's hard to say unimpressed by No Way, but he's been quite quiet, honestly. Like, he's not really done too much in the games last week and in the game we saw him today as well. So getting the potential on one of the strongest champions in the meta to really pop off and have a good game.
There's an additional engage and follow up. I think there's a lot of damage coming through NORD, and they can make Rusty Sniper life a little bit complicated. But as you stated, Milokot, he has a flash available every 5 minutes.
Every 5 minutes.
And yeah, it's a small window. But with Cassante, though.
Even still, though, you look at NORD's composition, and we've asked the question a couple times of drafts. It's like, who can just stand in front and be fine with doing that? Rakan can to an extent, the amount of mobility on this champion, but there is a lot of lockdown on Lightside, a lot of follow-up CC, and so I think that becomes quite a risky proposition for someone like Treats to actually be that primary frontliner. Similar situation to Santorin. For Lightside, though, big question for me is, where on earth is your damage coming from, right? We've got Galio, Cassante, solo laners, that's great, but who's going to be getting that Viego over the line so he can start resetting? I'm not really seeing where that's going to be coming from, especially if this game goes as a lot of people would anticipate. We see solo lane advantages bleed out in favor of NORD. It can't just be all on Rusty Sniper and Highbridge to get this done. You need some stability in those solo lanes.
On the plus, on the other side though, it's quite a squishy team comp from NORD, right? So yeah, not a huge amount of damage, but at the same time, maybe you can still bring people down early and get those resets for Viego, because, you know, there's no one to really soak up all of that stuff. So could be quite a volatile game here that we see between NORD and Lightside.
Well, it's still the fourth game of the day on Group A, Day 3. Let's see who takes this one, NORD or Lightside. Lightside wants to run away. NORD just wants to dominate. And to take on into this cast, we have Initialize and Solari. I'm not saying anything else, or else you'll judge me. I know you.
Can't believe he didn't have anything to say. He didn't have anything to say? What's he even doing as a host, man? Like, I'm just judging him for that. You know, it's too easy.
Yeah,
it's too easy. I've got to, I think there's some really valid things brought up by the desk there before we get ready to go into game. And a lot of that was saying, look, Vi goes in, doesn't have that much follow-up, not that tanky, but there's a lot of follow-up damage. There's multiple big ultimates that can follow on top of whoever Vi solos out, but the Galio, the counter-engage on the other side from Lightside is pretty scary. But they're quite reliant on Rusty for damage, and that's where I want to kind of bring up a bit of a stat for you. Varus is, career-wise, the joint third most played champion that Rusty Sniper's ever played. What is his win rate on that champion?
I took a wild guess already, so I'm gonna stay with my point. It's, I would say 60%.
18.2%.
Shut up.
He is 2-9 all time on Varus. And again, that's not saying everything. Rusty's sometimes been on some teams that haven't been that successful, even where he's been like a star carry. That can affect win rates. But even then, not a fabulous historical record on the champion. And that might raise an eyebrow or two here when you're asking a guy who is sometimes known for being a little aggressive, shall we say, with his positioning in fights. Interesting, that's the term. To deliver the damage here when he can just love to toe and overstep that line. And he take it to 3-9. We'll wait and see. Not perhaps the record that Lightside fans would like to hear coming into this one, but maybe this will be a time for new beginnings here in the first split of the 2025 of the NLC and other such generic references to the league. No Way here. Gets himself an initial bit of airy damage there. Anyone who's not played against Victor yet in the mid lane, I feel happier for you, because Siphon Power is just obnoxious. Obnoxious to lane against.
He is disgusting. That's why we see so many times him being banned. That's why we see so much priority across all the regions for this Victor in the mid lane. But I gotta say though, Going back to Rusty Sniper for a second, the thing here is, though, is that we cannot give any slack to Rusty Sniper. He needs to be the one who gets ahead, because if this Varus falls behind for Lightside, what other reliable source of damage do they have? The answer is none. They have a lot of engage and disengage options. They have a lot of team fighting options, a lot of options for control and resets, but no option for consistent DPS.
Viego, of course, a well-known champion for Highbridge here, as well as an early engage with the flash coming on in from Treats. Really looking to be a menace here on his very famous Rakan. Matty gets a lot of base damage. Of course, the Ezreal passive allows so much attack speed if you hit those Qs. And he does just that. Rusty having to back it. 0 farm, flash down. Rough start to the lane, even with the Australia lanes, which you'd think having Highbridge on your team would give you an advantage for.
You would think so, but actually, no, not really. Lightside are finding themselves in a terrible situation right now. Just as I was talking about how important it is for Rusty to be ahead, he has just been set so much behind. Because right now, how do you get back in a lane like that? How do you deal with it when you are as Varus behind and all you have is Rail, who is going to try her best, knowing Leo Licarga, he is going to try his absolute best to regain control of this lane back for Lightside. But for Rusty, this is going to be very rough right now to be standing versus Xmani, who just recalled, got some items, and is coming back.
Yeah, I mean, that's just it. Harbo, the easiest time there. And you're just looking, I think I see why we got this moment here in the early game with some of the poke starts coming on through. Many of the players here on NORD have been playing since 2013. Santorin and Vizicachi started their careers back in 2013. Yes, perhaps not at tier 1 for that point, but that's still a very long time ago. 12 years ago. And you know, even for people like Vizicachi, if you want the deep lore for Chachi as we see him get a big chunk on Winter, he was already a pro in another esports game before going to League of Legends. He's been playing pro for a very, very long time. And to those of you who followed RTS, once upon a time, Vizicachi used to go by the name Magyar in Age of Mythology. He was the faker of that game as far as I'm concerned. He was the greatest to ever touch the pro scene of Age of Mythology and then transitioned over towards League of Legends in the top lane. But he has been very, very good at video games for a very, very long time, even across genres. And then you got someone like Highbridge, who's only been playing since last year. It's just a very different level of experience, and the level of experience as well. Many of the players on the side of NORD have had deep runs at Worlds, never mind ERLs or EMEA Masters.
My favorite fact about Vizicachi is that he is one of those guys behind the original Unicorns of Love. You gotta love this.
Yes, absolutely, right? When Unicorns came in, I remember when they had like Kikis and they're like playing TF and Tail jungle.
Kikis came a bit later though,
things.
but yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Speaking of people who have had pretty long and storied careers themselves, 13, 1 and 9 last week on the Vi. He's in the game 2. Looking for a bit of a punch here. Won't need to use the denting blows quite yet, but Rusty and Leo Licargo have been put in a difficult spot here. Nice battle dance into the grand entrance. Leo Licargo will crash down, but is it enough? Ferromancy as a flash. Vault Breaker brings one down. Rusty alive on 9 HP.
It was 6. It was 6 HP. He barely got. He still had the barrier, to be honest. His name. I don't know how he's
calculated.
You know what? Yeah, probably. But I don't know. My finger would have just at least, you know, shaken towards that barrier button because it's 6 HP. He barely got out of there alive. He's still alive, that's true, but look at the difference in the clips between the AD carries right now. This is a domination on the lane for NORD already. They have managed to pretty much shut down Rusty Sniper for the early game, and it's gonna be so hard for Lightside right now to fish for any opportunities to get him back on track.
Harbo down about 20% HP. We're aware of the junglers. Harbo just as punches out towards his jungler. Vi is around at the Raptor pit, so it might end up being a 2v2. I don't think you can recall there, Harbo. No way won't face check it, so the reset will come on through regardless. So yeah, says me, and I was just wrong again. Third time today. Good grief.
Are we keeping count?
I am, personally. It's a point of pride. Treats has their shield broken by the Rel Q. Need to remember that, guys. Rel Q does break shields. It can be quite annoying into certain champions. All to be seen there. Winter's hit level 6 on the Cassante, but yet to go all out quite yet. The training weight's still on.
Nothing to go all out for just yet. To be fair, we already have the first dragon of the game spawned, and we just got the first grubbies, and there has been a lot of a lot of prior towards the first set of grabbies because they're gonna get closer to the piece of strength. But Rusty's not gonna live up to see them.
Ouch, that's a lot of damage. Does still have the barrier, but we'll be fine. They don't want to burn the ignite or anything on that, but they'll force Rusty back. Lightside, they were on the grub, so it would have been difficult to fully engage without some response, you would imagine, especially with Harbo having the hero's entrance available. Treats dodged away from all of the engage there from Leo Cargo. Cannot land either the Q or the W, the crash down just a little wide, and Treats able to grand entrance exit that particular play. Chachi, though, taking the opportunity to get this wave shoved in and claim a plate for himself.
I'm gonna claim some money there, so that's some good news for NORD, and overall across the map the news are good for NORD, except again for this void grabs that were just taken, all three of them by Lightside, which means in terms of feat of strength we are getting there for Lightside, but still not having, of course, a massive pride here. Just need to get the first turret, which Vizichachi is desperate in trying to, but that feels a bit early for that just yet. However, for Lightside, that's still some good news, because they gotta find something to play around right now. That Rusty Sniper is in a very unfortunate situation. Has his flashback, still somehow has the barrier available to him, but is still struggling a lot on his lane, not being able to leave the turret, because that's exactly what happens every time either of them is trying to leave the safe premises of the turret. So what else can Lightside play around, though? Is it trying to get the objectives and trying to get the feat of strength, and trying to keep Harbo alive?
Want to burn the equalizer. Highbridge was around, so it would have been a bit difficult to fully dive. There's the equalizer after Harbo just has to run away. The burn, not quite enough, but hang on. Now Noway's gone a little deep for this. Flashes away and out. As Highbridge cannot land the Heartbreaker. It's stuck on the gravity field instead. Winter now trading out with Chachi, who doesn't have the ultimate. Winter hasn't gone all out, and Santorin could look for a wraparound gank. Vault Breaker available. Won't go quite over the wall yet. Managed to find Winter backing away, will all out away, and gets through the cease and desist. That's the name of the ultimate. I was nearly calling it the old name, which has been a little while since it's been the prior name for Vial. You have to remember that one yourselves, guys. I'm not going to tell you, because I'm like that sometimes. All the while, the fights keep happening. No Way is just dead. Highbridge picks that one up and evens Lightside skills up as Roasty Sniper, though. It's a mystic shot from ex-Matty. I was going to call him Arcane Matty, and that's not true. But, you know, maybe he was in the show and I just didn't realise it.
Why Arcane Matty?
I think because he's playing Ezreal, and I was trying to remember whether it was Arcane Shot or Mystic Shot. It's Arcane Shift and Mystic Shot. And I just had a moment of, like, self-doubt. And then as a result, I just called him Arcane Matty. So I just conflated the Ezreal names in his name.
It still sounds nice.
It's the description.
Highbridge?
This is I don't know about this one, boss. There comes the hero's entrance, and actually has a bit more support than perhaps I gave him credit for there. Always got to remember the Galio ult is available. It is forced to be used there for just a click on a Grump, though. So not the highest value ult I've seen from a Galio.
Still, it was calculated all along. Now they can fight for a little bit more power on the top lane, rotate Rusty Sniper somewhere else in hopes that he's going to get a safe-ish lane at least somewhere, because Brother has finally used his barrier, by the way, but has flash available to him, so there's at least some sort of safety. Plus has the ultimate in case anything goes wrong. Lightside, however, right now would really love to work around the top side of the map. Already have established a lot of really deep vision into the jungle of NORD, and with the grabbies, the second set coming in less than a minute from now, that has to be the next objective that they have their eyes set on.
We've not really touched on it, but with the Comet and the fact we're seeing the Dirk and tiered inventory for Rusty Sniper is going to be the poke. Varus, problematically though, he is fairly significantly behind in the lane after the level 1 didn't really arrive, and the gank from Santorin that followed after. It's really kept this Baron down and out, and we've already said for Lightside, well, their damage profile isn't the highest. They're going to be quite reliant on Rusty Sniper to really provide a fair amount of that damage, and that's not what we're going to be seeing quite yet. Highbridge, at least at the Kraken saying with the kill to his name, maybe the VO can do his own stunts with a little bit of assistance from other team members, but could get a bit dicey, especially if NORD have enough damage to just pop the people they engage on.
Question is, who's going to be popped now right under this turret, because Lightside are looking, they are rotating a lot of people to the top part of the map, but not here as well. Not kind of have a very high presence here too. Vizichachi is the one who is the furthest to wave, and he doesn't have a TP, but the grabbies have spawned. Lightside really want to get the second set, or at least the 2 grabbies out of 3. That would be already more than enough for them.
So we'll make his way towards his allies there. Sorry, Footwork, that's the one you jump to allies with. Pathmaker is W. All is Santorin debating with the Vault Breaker. Be into the Rel, doesn't quite find it, but will just jump onto Rusty. Massive amount of damage, but stays alive, gets a change of corruption down, and that is the problem we were talking about. Body now stolen. Hybrid's looking to go on forwards, no way, in a tricky position. There's the Vault Breaker afterwards that does secure the kill with a little bit of assistance from the second ult of Viego. It's a 2 for 2 right now, but Winter left out to dry, and the follow-up damage from NORD is just too much. Hybrid alone survives the absolute catastrophe that is the extended fight.
The one that we thought that maybe Lightside could try to play around, trying to live up to this role as much as possible, but such a strong engage right into the back lane of Lightside. And after that, I love how Xmari is pretty much just untouched by anybody except for this taunt from Galio, but even that doesn't really do much, and Xmari is just allowed to go right into the enemy's back lane, if you can even call it so, in this current fight, and do whatever he wants. And then by the time Vizichachi comes in with all the damage, it's just way too late for Lightside to reach for absolutely anything, and thus they are losing the grabbies. They still have 4, so at least they're gonna get the ugly things spawning whenever they touch the enemy turrets, but
Void Mites.
Void Mites, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ugly things.
They are.
I'm sorry.
That's also true.
No offense, but like objectively, they're not the prettiest things on the Rift.
No, that's true. It's me when I'm on the Rift.
Oh, brother. Are you okay? You want to talk about it?
No, I don't think I do, especially not on air. I think it's going to be mildly humiliating, so we'll leave that one alone where it lies. Rusty will throw down a hail of arrows, but he is very alone right now, and Rusty Sniper finds himself in a slightly precarious position, and Vizichachi picks up his second kill of the game.
Vizichachi should be quite happy with it, already has the champion bounty on his head. Also, Lightside, though, in the meantime, they do have the 2 neutral objectives, so they are getting rather close to the fits, but NORD are still ahead. They still are having the first blood, and they have managed to cut through the turrets so far. Vizichachi, though,
crash
will be
down,
able to cut
and the
through
Magnet
this
Storm
one.
used. Treats will throw down the quickness, though, to prevent any further ingress onto his top laner. Will be the end of that. Ult for ult from the supports.
It's fine, as long as the turret for Lightside stands, because honestly, Vizichachi has been consistently on this bot lane so far, has been really doing his absolute best to get through this turret, and Winter most of the time is there to stop him, but now they had to rotate him to the top lane, which leaves the bot lane a little bit open. There is like 1 turret plate only left there.
That's just that, and the gold lead continuing to balloon away from Lightside. They are now nearly 4,000 gold down, but we said that in the first game of today.
Yes.
And they managed to come back around with this little objective called Atacam. They've once again got a fairly decent team fight wombo combo here. If everyone groups up around that, it could all still turn around. We've seen it once or twice here. Still got ourselves 6 or so minutes before that particular game changer is available, though. Likely going to be Voracious Atacard again, just not got enough kills to allow us the ruinous version. Don't think. Winter down to about half HP. Vizichachi, though, has got his ultimate available to him. We'll use it to clear the wave and make sure that Lightside cannot play for this turret.
Well, they can still play for Vizichachi, though. But still enough of them around.
Santorin's still here. I don't know about this, so they're going to still keep going. As Vizichachi was overheated, nowhere really to go. That's the shutdown. Now Santorin's left a little alone. There's a teleport coming on through, and no way is here. Look through down a Chaos Storm, and actually Treats as well, looking to find a good quickness angle in. Gets 4 charmed up, that's pretty good going. Treats trading out with Highbridge. Ricard solo kills the Viego in the backside. Matty misses the Mystic shot as Harbo left a little bit alone as Winter trying to take this one out. The Grand Entrance comes on through and no way tries to get the side for power, but it's now left in a 1v2 and the taunt just wide, won't land. Winter now left alone. It's looking like it might be summertime because he is melting. Not enough HP bar there to play, and Treats just breaks everyone's ankles.
Quite literally, I love his engages, and Harbo apparently is the next one to have
still
his ankles
doing it!
broken.
Oh, Treats, he's absolutely a treat to watch on, Ricard. He has been so good on this champion for so many years. Brings it down into ERL 1. Just don't give him the champion, guys. He's really good at it.
He's already the second person we're saying today shouldn't be given Rakan to. And with all fairness, for both of them, it applies absolutely equally. Both the Treats and the Reckless. Just don't let these guys play Rakan because they know all too well how to have a very grand entrance with a champion. Ooh, what happened here? Rusty Sniper went down. Xmari.
Xmari just decides to make sure that X marks the Mystic shot and brings down Rusty Sniper there in pretty demanding fashion. Rusty 0-3-1. Sometimes Rusty giveth, as Ala game 1, and sometimes Rusty taketh. Mind it, 2 and 9 on the side of the Varus. Just not been his champion over his career. Not the Ghost Blade complete as yet, but Varus not the fastest stacker of the tier. So be a little ways off that Muramana.
And we don't really have the time necessarily that Lightside would like to have right now, with considering where Rusty Sniper is in this game. We have the Herald already spawned in the game. We are talking about potentially the next Dragon in just a minute from now. Both teams have 1 for 1. But NORD are feeling so much stronger on the map right now, with objective bounties already spawned for Lightside, considering the gold difference between the teams. Nothing to be surprised by. Harpo surviving this one, just walking away, but walking away with a lot of damage to his health bar and to his pride probably as well.
Worth noting, that will mean there's not going to be the Chaos Storm available for the Dragon that will be spawning in short order. Big double knockup though. It's Highbridge down to about 20% HP. And that damage will stick before the Dragon is actually no way off to the side. Lands a big death ray and a Siphon Power. The massive equalizer afterwards. Leo not quite burned down, but even with the Grand Hero's entrance, I apologize. Get that particular version right. Not enough to keep their member alive. Leo goes down. No way. Flashes on out. Still trying to trade it out over the wall. He just won't be stopped.
Way.
How far are you going to go? You're not Bounce, mate. Pull away.
I don't think he can hear you, and even if he could, I don't think he would listen to you. Biden, no way, doesn't really need an ultimate.
He's feeling
to be
it.
A threat. He's feeling it, brother, and now the whole team is gonna be feeling it because the Dragon has just spawned. The health bars are totally fine. Nobody from Lightside is able to be at the peak to show them any fight whatsoever, so the second Drake is going to go into the pockets of NORD. Things are looking mighty good for them, I gotta say. It's 11-5. They are in a massive gold lead right now, stacking up those items, getting towards the 2-item spot for pretty much everybody very soon, as long as Xmari doesn't die here. Please, that would be a shame.
He's still got himself Arcane Shift and doesn't burn it on a whim, so was able to play that one out. No way, though. Hasn't been able to reset yet. He could be in danger here. All out, pulls himself out of the gravity field. No way. Now in serious danger. Shut down. And that is picked up by Rusty Sniper's Varus. Santori trading up with Leo Lecargo, has his Aftershock run away. Rusty looking to trade this one out. There comes the Cease and Desist. Xmati pairs that up with the Arcane Barrage. Sorry, True Shot Barrage. Everything's named Arcane. Come on, Sam. The show might have come out, but even so, in the 1 versus 3, Rusty Sniper will be looking a little bit more like a tetanus jab. He goes down, and NORD pick up the kill.
Interesting enough that Noe got pretty much punished for using the flash in the fight that happened right before the Drake, when he had to flash away from the hero's entrance from Harpo. And now he got all outed by Winter, so a bit unfortunate there. Still, it's good for NORD that they managed to find those 2 kills in exchange for that one. They can still continue pushing on, they can continue pressing, because we have the Articon happening in 1 minute, and we are opening up the bot lane, so we can get this turret in there, hopefully. After that we can reset and run straight towards Articon.
They can. There goes the turret. Herald is left to die, but the tier 2 is already secured, and that puts the gold lead up to a grand total of 7,600 gold, if I have done my math right, and that's not always a guarantee. Middlecourt, I know you're a maths teacher. Please tell me if I'm right. Sir, arithmetic teacher you. The state of British education these days, I tell you. God. 2 items complete. Mostly there for the side of NORD. Chachi, though, doesn't line the Electro Harpoon.
It's alright, though. He's on the bot lane, he has a TP, should there be any need for NORD to rotate him to the top part of the map where Articon is spawning in just a couple of seconds from now. NORD don't necessarily have too much vision around, but to be fair, Lightside don't have a lot of it either. They have, I think, nice word at Articon himself, but they gotta get there somehow.
Teleport's coming on through on both sides. I think it'll be NORD that arrive just first. Leo goes on in with the Magnet Storm, but doesn't get that much value. Damage is good onto Santorin and onto Trees, but it's not onto the valuable members. Matty in the backline takes out Rusty. Just jumps on it and shows Rusty how it's really done. Triple kill to Xmati. Noways got himself an upgraded ultimate, and they'll head straight on over towards Atacard as Winter tries to clean up the wave. There is no way for Cassante to run. You can go all out, but there's nothing left in the tank. No way will siphon the power and ace Lightside.
How is Xmari being allowed into the enemy's backline? Over and over. That's not the first time already that we're seeing him just casually jumping into the enemy backline and destroying it like it's no biggie. I don't know what's happening here. With Lightside having so much control to their hands, just letting it slip through is honestly a big shame. Such a good fight for Nord in the end. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Jumps in, doesn't necessarily jump through the wall, but then he still has the flash, so he's ready to sacrifice it. Assassin Ezreal, a triple kill to his name, an Articon to the name of everybody from Nord. And you know what having Articon means. You are going to be forcing things, and very happily so, because you are getting this withdrawal for any fun games and business you have on your sleeves.
And the Ezreal was late to that play, right? I mean, gets huge value out of it because he ended with a really good flank angle once all the ultimates are down. But in a number of other fights,
again, it was the same last time. He was late, but he found a good angle because of it.
He's in mid lane clearing away, and of course, you are the Ezreal. A True Shot Barrage can still prove value from other parts of the map.
Yep.
Wei Xiao back in Season 2 showing that one many years ago now. Well, going to see that tier 2 fall in the mid lane, and NORD just continue to put pressure after pressure after pressure. There's still 3 minutes until Baron. They're just using the withdrawals they get from Voracious Articon. By some time is no way dragged out of his gravity field, but Winter is the one that is punished, and the Vixer just does not care. Just helps his team bring down the Kazante one more time, and now Highbridge and the rest of Lightside need to back away because the only light they're seeing is the one at the end of the tunnel, and it is NORD driving a freight train into the enemy base.
Habo just finally joined the fight. He was in the top lane all this time, so Lightside were basically trying to hold their defense with 4 members, and then 3 after Winter died. To be fair, Habo did get a turret on the top lane with an objective bounty, but was it really worth it when you're losing your base? Ouch.
We'll throw down the locket. It won't be that. Minus the Iron Solari. Ow. Better Solari's on cast this time around. Just not enough value. The Chains of Corruption comes on through. But reminder, they've still got the Anti-Calm buff. They've got the ability to withdraw. They don't care. They're going to look for the fight because they have to, but it is desperation. Stations for Lightside and NORD do not care. They are implacable. They are unstoppable. They are inevitable. They will look to try and end the game here. Winter and the rest of the team will go withdrawing because they're fountain typing. Oh, they're just having fun with it. The inhibitors will fall. They'll get a Nexus turret. They won't quite end the game. And Lightside will live to breathe for perhaps another fight.
What's very important though here is that they managed to get one of the Nexus turrets down, and that's so funny because there was this change introduced to the Nexus turrets that they are now actually restoring their health. Or are they not?
Yes,
Wait.
they do.
The Nexus ones?
Yes.
I
think Nexus and Inhibitor ones do. You kind of get some general respeed there. A lot of ones get HP regen now, I think. I need to look exactly which one it is, but I know some turrets get HP regens.
I started something very smart and then I confused myself. This is so embarrassing.
I think I may not have helped there as well.
Absolutely not. You know
some turrets That's a little harsh. I feel like I've got some utility. Man, at least as a human being, please. Winter, though, maybe doesn't right now. This Cassante's not having a great time. Oh, stuck between a rock and a treats place, apparently. Matty is there. Charmed up is Winter. Leo Lukaku goes crashing down away from the enemy lines. Is on the other side, Rusty Sniper is losing a 1v1 to Santora. The grand entrance, or Hero's entrance comes on through alongside a grand entrance from Treats, and then the Equalizer comes on down. No one really dies aside from Winter, but now that just gives NORD the opportunity to get on forwards. They're still between 2 turrets. It just doesn't matter. They'll lose the fight. The body will be stolen by Highbridge, who looks for the opportunity to go on in. Doesn't find the value he's really looking for. The battle dance to safety as Harbo uses the Winds of War to clear out the wave and gets a decent taunt there with an Idol of Durand, but doesn't really get that much value from it as Matty goes legendary. 10, 0, and 7 on the Ezreal. The Nexus is spared. Chachi teleports in, and I think this might just be it. NORD played with their food a little bit with the Atacam buff, but they have done with that. They are finishing the kill, and Lightside are put to the sword. Matty is the clear tip this time around. Unbelievable damage on the Ezreal, and Lightside just don't have what it takes to step up to the big guns of NORD. Another triple kill. 13 kills to end it all for Matty.
28-9. If that wasn't a definitive victory for NORD, then I honestly don't know what is. I love it that NORD came into this game with a very clear plan. They knew that they had to shut Rusty Sniper down, because if you manage to do that, the rest of the game goes so much easier for you. Your team comp just wants to be engaging. They are going to be able to cut through the enemy's frontline if nobody's cutting through their own engagers. And since, again, Rusty Sniper was feeling so bad in this game, couldn't really get to any good items, couldn't really get to good position either, it was so easy for NORD to just be pressing all their buttons whenever they see an enemy, go all in, have so much damage out of their sleeves. Just such a good and lucky game for them.
Well, NORD put the side of Lightside to the sword, and despite Highbridge's conversations and comments about, look, you'll be talking to me very soon, there won't be, because we'll go to the desk and they'll be talking with someone else, I fear, after that game.
What do you fear? Why would you have fear about tossing back to the desk? I don't know, I'm not native. Welcome back to the desk! NORD wins another one! They're one step away from getting the clean 4-0, but they can't do it because on the first game they lost versus Los Ratones. We still have another game from Los Ratones to end up the day. I know everybody is waiting, but there's other teams, remember that. Let's talk about what happened on this match though. LLS versus NORD. Can I say something? Varus, comment, come on.
Bro. Rusty, you literally did this to someone in the game earlier on Ezreal. You fought them at level 1 and you were like, damn, I win because I'm Ezreal and I've got bonus auto attack, and you're there with your like arcane comet trying to go 1-for-1 with like X-Matty when he could just like absolutely like, no, come on, bro. Oh, I this really felt like a rough one for Lightside. Credit to NORD's very, very clean play. Incremental advantages accrued throughout the early game. It didn't really feel like there were many big explosive moments in this game before the result had almost already been decided. But it was a slow bleed out from Lightside that we really feared. The solo lanes weren't really able to assert themselves. Harbo again had a really, really rough time. And with Rusty Sniper and Leo Lucago not really able to generate all that much, it was sort of just rough. And I think this first replay, it was 18 minutes in that we got this, and it just encapsulates this game so much. Lightside, they get something, they feel good about it, but NORD are just able to respond with a little bit more firepower.
Yeah, like you say, that was kind of the story of the game. Even when Lightside were trying to make things happen, it wasn't happening for them, right? And it felt like when they were trying to be the proactive member of this game and really force things, that it was just, it just wasn't their game, you know, that just wasn't the game that they needed to play. And I know, you know, you guys mentioned Arcane Comment and stuff, and I think honestly it's actually quite significant. I think it's a fair point, because when you've got like Rel, Galio on your side, you've got frontline in Viego and Cassante, you need that consistent damage from the back, right? That's what you want. I think maybe the logic behind it was like Rusty was maybe scared of like the rumble and like getting too close to Vine, stuff like that, so you want more range, which is fair, but you have protective tools, right? And your team otherwise did lack a little bit of damage in that comp, but to be perfectly honest, it never really got to a point where, in my opinion, it mattered, right? Because when Lightside started going for these fights, exactly, NORD were just already way ahead of them, and this is the worst place to fight a rumble victor.
Oh, look at Ezreal.
It's disgusting. Matty comes in
Matty
from the top row, from downtown, and just obliterates the backline of Lightside. And considering that is a 5v5 team fight, that is like, boom, blink and you miss it. It's all donezo, right? NORD they had the superior team fight from start to finish this game, and they showed the caliber of their team.
And don't get me wrong, I do believe like NORD played this to perfection. They showed up everything X-Matty like beyond belief, but as you stated, like you need the constant damage from something, even if it's the Varus auto attack where you build the Ginzus and then you go for tank. I don't know who built it. You should be ashamed or banned. I don't know, maybe both of them, but the idea is X-Matty goes in, Arcane Shift, does all the magic, does all the attacks, and if you look into the replay, Rusty Sniper goes like, I have an arrow, he throws one and he dies. So while Ezreal is doing all those shenanigans, there's one arrow from Varus, and most of the times on fights, it was all about one arrow. It's not enough. I agree with both of you. They needed more. They had the front line. We survived, but it's not only about surviving, it's about doing something. And I believe NORD just, look at this. Oh gosh, okay, I was not expecting this.
Yeah.
I was, whew, that's a lot.
I mean, it's just pure domination, isn't it? From everyone involved. 25-minute game time as well. That goal graph, it climbed and just kept on climbing, and good across the board damage charts. You can see that's quite a nice little team contribution there, right? All three of them, all three of the solo lanes and the ADC all getting involved there. But I mean, on the other side, Those are some low numbers. That's not looking too good. You combine all of the the top, mid, and jungle. I don't even think you get one player from NORD's damage totals. That's a discrepancy and a half.
Yeah, I think any game where Cassante is third lowest damage, like you've got to be going, something's wrong here. Like that guy should be doing disgusting numbers. But it was, to be fair, a bit of an individual outclassing. It's what we expected Verdant to do to Lightside earlier in the day. Lightside were able to overcome that, but NORD just a caliber above. They got the boot camp buff as well, which, as we all know, is like massively overpowered. So that's going to be bringing something for them as well. Whilst they did fall down in that first game of the split versus Los Ratones, absolutely deserved second best team in this group, and I think it's very difficult for anyone to argue with that.
As it states, we're now trying to set up an interview. Obviously, since you talked about the boot camp and everybody's together, and that's massive. Like the idea that you can have everybody playing together and they can communicate after the game. You look into your teammate and he's there. You're not looking at the wall because you're playing online. All those things are so important. Okay, I'm just getting some information regarding this. And Middlecourt, you know about this, playing together because you've won Insomnia. You kept talking about it nonstop. I know you wanted me to ask that to visit Chachi, But yeah, there you go. He's already talking about it right now.
Man, like, no, you can't do me like this. You've just been like exposing the NLC casters on a regular. Like we had Solari and her whole thing, but like I was a die-hard Unicorns of Love fan. Okay, like they were the first team that I was a fan of, and I was like, I love Vizicachi, I love his play style, and then like when I started getting into esports, like, wait, hold on, this guy went to Insomnia as well? Like, we've also been there? Like, it's just really cool. Okay? And now, you're making me feel bad about that, and you're pulling that face that you always pull, Archer, where you're like, Middlecourt is just yapping about nothing, and you're just not interested, okay?
No, it's like, I see your point. You won Insomnia. I mean, I watched LEC on the studio, and we also got a lot of good players that play there, so I kind of played at LEC at the same time. I don't know, that's what I get. You're kind of like Duckling saying that he won a tournament, even though he was the water boy. I don't know how I get it. Well, right, with that in mind,
all right.
I'm gonna give you one chance to convince me, okay? You ready? Let's also do the interview.
There it is.
Hey, John, how you doing?
Hey.
Look at that.
Yeah, I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I mean, I'm happy. You're happy. You're in the land. Everybody's there playing. Are those the players behind you? I want to get the feeling.
So we got Freddie in the corner there with Jan, his manager. Thomas, you can't see, our draft coach. And then on this side, I mean, they're all around. I don't know how many you can see in the camera, but they're all around.
Wait, Centauri just finished the game. He's already eating. Is that a cereal bowl?
Yeah, he was eating before the game, and he was now eating after the game as well.
Man, I like that. Okay, John, guide me. NORD got a 3-1 at the end of play day. I know you wanted a 4-0, so do let me know how you feel at the end of this. I want to get your fresh opinion.
Yeah, I feel good. Our first game, we hadn't been together very long as a team, so we're playing against Los Ratones, who've been playing since November. So we, I think, had 3 or 4 scrim days before that. And there's a lot of the same mistakes that you always see with early teams. So already now by week 2, those are going and they'll continue to go. So feeling good about the position of the team. It was always going to be a very interesting first game. So once that was all settled, it was just about making sure we were playing disciplined enough for the next 3 to come second in the group.
Tell me something. Do you think this makes it spicier? Because, okay, you lost 1 game versus Los Ratones, but you didn't have a lot of time to prepare. This makes the revenge even more juicier, no?
Yeah, definitely. I think if we do end up meeting in the upper bracket or something like that, I think it's going to be a fun one for sure. I think it will be quite different from the first game that we played against them. But the other interesting thing is obviously we play them in practice because there's not that many teams that are at the level that's good enough to play and want to play on stream. So we both have quite a small pool to play for. So it's like an LEC where you practice against the same people you play.
I saw those scrims, by the way, before NLC started. They were different than what I saw on the first game. They're quite different, if I may.
Yeah.
You know? John, tell me something. When you look into the roster that you currently have and you're working with, what can you highlight and what is the amount of pressure you feel, because you're playing with a lot of legends and obviously they have a lot of experience. So as a coach, it's got to be heavy at the end of the day, no?
Maybe. I mean, it depends on the players that you've got. I think for these guys, it's actually been unbelievably light. It feels like I'm here enjoying the ride. I think they bring so much experience, but also they all bring like such an amazing attitude. And for everyone who's been following us on the journey, you've seen that in the way that people talk to each other and the way that we give feedback to each other already. So it's actually been, while obviously there's excitement around what we can actually achieve, both in the NLC and in the EMEA Masters, it's also a case where there's not all that much for me to do. It's like they can do it themselves. They've been here before. So I think even before this game today, I was like, I don't need to say anything, guys. You know what I would say anyway. So like, just go get it, basically.
Love it. Final question for you. That is a setup for another one. Okay. What is the team you want to face the most when you go into playoffs? What is the team that you actually want? It's not about, I want to play versus them because it's going to be... No. What is the team you want to beat up?
I mean, it's very hard not to... Well, I could answer Los Ratones, but it's also very hard not to say Ruddy, right? Like, we had I think we played them in their very first scrim game, and afterwards they stopped scrimming for the rest of the week. So I'd like to see what happens on stage, because that'll always be fun. Like, it's always actually different, So I think it's got to be Ruddy. If they make it as far as us, then it'd be great to meet them.
If you look into your name right now on the bottom left corner, it says John NORD Coach. If you win versus Ruddy, what do you want us to have there?
Oof. I have no idea.
Your name. If you win, we'll upgrade your name for the interview. But
okay,
if you lose, I'm going to ask them the same.
Okay. Well, I'll keep it humble, and we'll just say like King of the World or something like that.
King of the World. John, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to see you with us. Oh, there you go. John, I think he wants to join on the interview. I don't know.
You wanna say hi?
There you go.
I already just said hi now.
You just said hi. John, thank you so much. I'm going to leave you to rest and talk with the players as well. Congratulations on the 3-1 NLC1 playoffs. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, cheers.
Keep it humble. King of the world. I love it. I love it. I like this.
He didn't say Universal Galaxy, so,
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
humble.
He knows his size. He set them reasonably high.
We still have one game ahead of us. Verdant versus Los Ratones. So let's talk about that like we were talking about you, Middlecott, about winning that. Nah, I'm kidding. No one cares about that. Let's toss it to break and I'll see you soon.
XD.